It was our anniversary. Suddenly, my girlfriend dropped a bombshell. She said she wanted to have a baby for her first love who is currently terminally ill. That led to a massive heated argument between us. She told me the doctors say Ahui's health is fading fast. If we don't do it now, it'll be too late. Besides, it's just in vitro fertilization. I promised you I wouldn't actually sleep with him. I'm just helping a friend out. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I stood there gripping the engagement ring hidden in my palm. My heart felt so heavy it was physically painful.
I only remember helping Boss Ann walk out of the hotel.
How could she stand there with such a casual look on her face saying something so completely insane? Zhuening, we've been together for 7 years. We're about to get married. Did you even stop for 1 second to think about me? How am I supposed to hold my head up after this? I fought hard to suppress the humiliation burning inside. I was trying to keep the last shred of my dignity intact, but my knuckles, white from gripping my hand so tightly, betrayed exactly how much pain I was in. But then Tang Shuining stood up furious. She pointed a finger right at my face and started screaming at me. You're just obsessed with your fragile male ego. You have never once thought about my feelings. Tang Shuining flipped the table over. The cold steak went flying everywhere, splattering across the floor. Suddenly her phone on the table started ringing. I looked down at it. The screen clearly displayed the name My Dearest. Tang Shuining obviously saw it too. She panicked, snatched the phone up, and immediately hit the mute button. I just stared at her. I wanted her to give me some kind of explanation. Even if it was just a lie, I would have taken it. But Tang Shuining just rushed out and slammed the door behind her. I'm not coming back tonight. Don't wait up for me. She didn't offer a single word of explanation. It made me think back on everything, from our days in college all the way to our careers. I realized that what Tang Shuining had given me most was pain. That same back turned to me just as ruthless as ever. Back in college, Tang Shuining was the campus queen. She was the ultimate ice queen, cold, untouchable, and someone you wouldn't dare approach. She wouldn't have even glanced my way back then. But then by some twist of fate, a beauty like Tang Shuining actually confessed her feelings to me. And just like that, in a daze, we ended up together. I knew deep down that it might have been an accident or a misunderstanding, but I studied hard. I worked myself to the bone to improve my life, all because I wanted to be worthy of her. I loved her with so much humility. I walked on eggshells, terrified of doing anything wrong. I looked after her, catering to her every single need, and only then would I get a few sweet words from her in return. For years, I truly believed I had finally worn her down, that she was starting to care, but I never imagined she could still be this cold. I looked at the table full of delicious food I'd prepared. All I felt was a rising sense of irritation in my chest. I went out to the balcony and lit a cigarette. That's when I unexpectedly realized that Tang Shuining hadn't actually left. She was standing by the villa entrance, pacing back and forth. It looked like she was waiting for a car. Ah, Hui, you have to hold on. I'm coming to the hospital to see you right now. Why should it matter if Shu Yan agrees or not? My body is my own to decide what to do with. Who does he think he is anyway? A car pulled up to the gate. Tang Shuining hopped in immediately. I could see the panic and worry written all over her face. Who do I think I am? Years of humiliation and suppressed anger came flooding back to me. I stared at my own reflection in the mirror. I looked so defeated, so pathetic. I've had my fair share of success in my career over the years, but in love, I've been lost in a thick, endless fog. A fog I just can't seem to find my way out of. All I ever wanted was a normal marriage, to be with someone who actually cares about me. But clearly Tang Shuining doesn't give a damn about that. Her heart and mind are completely occupied by her first love. She's even willing to have a child with Ah Hui. I let out a mocking laugh. If Tang Shuining is capable of doing something as absurd as this, then why the hell can't I do the same? I pulled out my phone. I dug up an old dust-covered email address from my notes. I typed out a message. Do you still remember what we said back then? When we're 28, if I'm still single and you're not married yet, I'll marry you. Do you dare to come back to the country? I hit send in one go, and right after, I let out a self-deprecating laugh. I haven't been in touch with that woman for 10 years. What on earth am I losing my mind over? Asking someone to marry me the second I open my mouth? She probably doesn't even remember what I look like anymore. But the very next second, my phone lit up. It was a notification for a reply email. There was only one word. The moment I saw the email, a familiar feeling washed over me. Lin Miao Miao is still the same bold, impulsive person she always was. We were childhood sweethearts. We bickered from the time we were little until we grew up. We were always getting into heated arguments, faces turning bright red. Like any teenage boy and girl, we had our share of naive, budding romance. But then we had this massive fight, and soon after Meow Meow's whole family moved abroad. I just never imagined that she still remembered that promise too. Right after that, an international call cut through my wandering thoughts. I'm coming back in a month. Meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Don't you dare back out on me. For a split second, I had this feeling, as if Meow Meow had been waiting for this exact moment for a very long time. Okay, what do you want? A diamond ring, a car, a dowry, and an engagement party. I rattled it all off in one breath. I had been with Tang Xuening for 7 years. I always hoped we'd make it to this point, so I hadn't prepared for nothing. It's just that with Tang Xuening, it was always, "You're being way too much," or every time I brought it up, she'd just say, "Let's talk about it later." All my preparations ended up being for nothing. But what I didn't expect was that Meow Meow on the other end of the line would flat out refuse. I don't want any of those things. But you know how I am. I've been incredibly possessive since I was a kid. I want you to be mine both body and soul. And I don't mean just going through the motions. Do you understand? Fine, I get it. My little terror. Wait, what did you just call me? I get it, wifey. Since we're getting married, I never intended to just mess around. I want to give her everything she deserves. Looking at the friend request that just popped up on WeChat, Lin Meow Meow's note read, "Your wife has arrived." A smirk curled at the corner of my mouth. Tang Xuening, you're having a child with someone else, and I've gone and married someone else too. That's only fair, isn't it? It's been a week, and Tang Xuening hasn't come home once. She hasn't given me a single phone call, and she doesn't even come home at night. In the past, I would have already been frantic, and probably would have rushed to the hospital to cause a scene with her. But this time, I didn't ask a thing. I just quietly packed up all my belongings and posted a simple status update on my feed. Let's part ways on good terms. Some of the friends who knew I was planning to propose rushed over to ask me, "You already bought the ring, didn't you? Why would you suddenly post something like that? Are you calling off the wedding?" I let out a self-deprecating laugh, feeling nothing but bitterness in my heart. I designed that ring myself and spent a full 6 months tracking down 10 flawless pink diamonds to surround a 5-carat center stone, symbolizing a love that is wholehearted and singular. But while I was pouring my heart and soul into this, what was Tang Xuening doing? She was busy worrying about another man. Since this woman's heart can never be warmed, I don't want to love her anymore. That evening at a dinner with friends, I laid it all out on the table. The wedding is still happening, but the bride won't be Tang Xuening anymore. There was a brief moment of silence at the dinner table, but it was quickly drowned out by the laughter of my friends. "You were ready to give your life for Tang Xuening," they teased. "And now you're just going to say you don't love her anymore." Yeah, right, as if we'd believe that. How many times have you come out here to drown your sorrows over the years? Yet the second she says one word, you're right back to chasing after her. I didn't bother to argue back. I know that actions speak louder than words. My friends will realize sooner or later that this time I'm for real. When I got home, I noticed the lights were on. It turned out Tang Xuening was back. He had dark circles under his eyes, and without any makeup, he looked completely worn out. Tang Xuening is someone who cares deeply about his appearance. He always keeps himself looking perfectly polished and clean. It's rare to see him looking this much of a mess. As I walked closer, I caught the sharp, stinging scent of disinfectant. It was obvious he'd been staying up all night at the hospital guarding someone's bedside. The moment he saw me, Tang Xuening didn't offer a single word of explanation. Instead, he had the nerve to demand, "Where have you been? You wouldn't even pick up your phone. You're getting pretty bold, aren't you?" I almost laughed in disbelief. It's always the same. Every time Tang Xuening feels insecure or guilty, he finds some way to pin it on me. He dumps all the blame right onto my shoulders, waiting for me to panic, explain myself, and apologize. But this time, I just looked at Tang Xuening calmly. A tremor went through Tang Xuening's heart. He felt like the person standing in front of him had changed, though he couldn't quite put his finger on what was different. But he didn't have the time to dwell on that right now. He had something much more important to deal with, so he frowned and said, Hui had surgery a few days ago. His health is in really bad shape. I've decided to help him move into a VIP room. Fine, I replied flatly. Tang Xuening froze. He never expected it to be this easy. He thought he would have to go through the usual routine of placating me first, spending time trying to coddle me. A VIP hospital room costs $30,000 a day. Do you think you can handle that? I can. I didn't even look up, I just agreed right away. Because deep down I was thinking they aren't even married yet. Tang Xuning is spending her own money, so it's none of my business. Tang Xuning works as a receptionist at a small company. She makes about 4 or 5,000 a month, but I've been covering all our daily expenses, so she does have some savings tucked away, though I have no idea how many days that VIP room will last her. That strange, uneasy feeling crept into Tang Xuaning's heart again. But she was too desperate to get Lin Jihui moved into a better room. She really didn't have the mental energy to overthink it. Another week passed. I showed up at the hospital just as we agreed. Tang Xuaning walked into the room clearly used to the routine by now. Lin Jihui was just lying in bed watching TV. The second he saw Tang Xuaning, his face twisted in pain and he started wailing. "Jining, I'm in so much pain." Tang Xuaning rushed over to his side immediately. "Didn't the doctor tell you to stay lying down and rest? Why are you sitting up again?" "I woke up this morning and didn't see you. I was so worried I was about to lose it. I couldn't even bring myself to eat a thing." Tang Xuaning let out a sigh. Helpless but gentle, she pulled out a lunchbox and started feeding him spoonful by spoonful. "You honestly? What would you do without me? If I didn't get you into this VIP room, how could I ever have peace of mind?" They leaned in close, huddled together, chatting away as if no one else existed. They looked just like a pair of newlyweds. And there I was standing in the doorway, just watching it all silently. I didn't say a single word, until the attending physician walked up with his team and gave me a shove. "You keep moving. Don't block the doorway. You're in the way." Only then did Tang Xuaning look up, finally realizing that her boyfriend was still standing at the door. I stood up feeling incredibly awkward all of a sudden. Realizing that my own boyfriend was still standing there at the door, I awkwardly scrambled to my feet. But I didn't say a single word. I even politely stepped aside to let them through. My reaction, so calm and devoid of a scene, seemed to catch Tang Xuaning by surprise. But then she felt a tug on her sleeve. Lin Jihui was pulling on her, looking pitiful as he complained of a stomachache. Tang Xuaning stopped thinking about it. She probably figured I had finally learned how to be sensible. And honestly, maybe it was better that way. Lin Jihui acted as if he had only just noticed me standing there. He gave me a grateful nod and said, "Mr. Zhu, thank you so much for not just taking care of Xuaning for me all these years, but also for getting me this VIP hospital room. I truly owe you one." Lin Jihui's words were laced with hidden daggers. He knew perfectly well that Tang Xuaning was my girlfriend, yet he had the nerve to talk about her taking care of her for me. Still, I just listened in silence, not offering a single rebuttal. "You know," he continued, "Xuning and I had a very special bond back in college. She's such a loyal and kind-hearted girl, which is why she's helping me out like this. I hope you can understand." "I understand perfectly," I replied. "I'm getting married to someone else soon anyway. So naturally, whatever happens with Tang Xuaning has nothing to do with me." Seeing how easygoing I was acting, Lin Jihui raised an eyebrow. Emboldened, he began to show off. "I just had surgery a few days ago and can't get around very well. It's all thanks to Xuaning running around everywhere to wait on me. She's not just wiping me down, she's even been brewing soup for me. Every time she sees me in pain, she just breaks down in tears. Mr. Shu, your girlfriend is truly a virtuous woman." Hearing Lin Jihui provoke me like this, I couldn't help but clench my fists. He was daring to be this bold right in front of everyone. Who knows what they've been up to when no one else is looking? I could practically feel the horns of a cuckold growing on my head. Tang Xuaning's face went pale. She hurried to explain, "Hui is just joking. Please don't take him seriously. That's just who he is. He always loves to joke around at others' expense." "Of course my heart is with you," Tang Xuaning said, turning her head away. I have no idea what she's fiddling with in her hands. After being together for 7 years, I can tell in a single glance. He's lying, because whenever he lies, he starts fidgeting to keep himself busy. Stop standing there like a fool. Let's go pay the bill for the VIP ward. As expected after all that talk, Tang Xuaning just sees me as a total pushover. She only cares about getting me to pay the bill. If she really cared about me, how could she ever let me be belittled like this? But honestly, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because the moment Tang Xuaning said she wanted to have Lin Jihui's baby, it was already over between us. Tang Xuaning looked at me with a fawning smile. I swiped the card without a second thought, even though she has no idea that it's actually her own paycheck card. When it came time to move rooms, Tang Xuaning stayed by Lin Jihui's side the whole time, right up until he was settled in bed. The nursing staff brought in the VIP room meals. Lin Jihui took 2 bites and pushed it away. He shot me a provocative look first, then choked up as he looked at Tang Xuaning and said, "Xuaning, I keep thinking about when we first got together. You used to cook that ox bone soup for me yourself. I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to taste it again in this life. Before he had even finished his sentence, Tang Xuening frowned. She grabbed his hand immediately, saying, "Stop that, hush now. Why are you saying such nonsense? As long as you want to eat it, I'll go home right now and make it for you. Not only will you be able to eat it, but your future children will get to have it too. It looks like the Lin family line might end with me. My mom is still waiting to hold a grandson. It's all my fault for being so useless." With that, he buried his head in his hands and started sobbing. Tang Xuening held him close, comforting him in person. Seeing that I was still standing in the hospital room, Tang Xuening shot me a cold look and ordered, "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and go to the supermarket to buy some beef tenderloin. I'm going to make soup when I get back later." I let out a bitter laugh. Use me up and then toss me aside. That's always been Tang Xuening's style. I just nodded. I went down to the underground parking garage and started the car. After thinking for a moment, I didn't head home, nor did I go to the supermarket. Instead, I drove straight to the office. As soon as I arrived, I went to meet my business partner. Mo Sinny and I didn't bring an umbrella, so I got caught in the rain. I'm soaked to the bone. I felt dizzy and lightheaded. Mo Sinian looked surprised, because just a while ago I had told him that I was preparing a marriage proposal, so I wouldn't be coming into the office very often. I took a sip of hot water, and what I said next shocked him. "I'm resigning." "Resigning? You're doing perfectly well as the CEO. Where do you think you're going? Tang Xuening is asking you for a villa as premarital property, and a dowry of 99,990,000. If you quit now, will you even be able to support her? But honestly, man, if you were marrying someone else, you could retire right now and be just fine. I'm not leaving for good. I'm just moving into a behind-the-scenes role. Some people just aren't worth killing myself over at work anymore." After handing over all my work responsibilities, I returned home. Tang Xuening was holding the grocery bag looking furious. "I told you to get groceries. Where the hell have you been? You're always moping around with that long face nitpicking everything. What kind of man are you?" I didn't pay her any mind, and instead walked straight to the suitcase I had already packed. "Are you going on a business trip? You need to go on a business trip." Seeing me packing my things, Tang Xuening was taken aback. "Wait, isn't... The company is adjusting its business operations. I'll be staying at the office for a few days," I replied, my tone calm, just spouting whatever came to mind. Tang Xuening knew how busy I was with work. Business trips and pulling all-nighters at the office were common occurrences for me. In the past, she never cared about these things. But for some reason, she felt like something was off today. "How many days will you be gone? Do you need me to help you pack your clothes?" Faced with Tang Xuening's sudden display of tenderness, I didn't feel touched in the slightest. On the contrary, I felt a hint of awkwardness. Before I could even come up with an excuse, Tang Xuening's phone started ringing. She listened for a few seconds, frowned, and then turned on the speakerphone. "Mr. Shu, it's me, Lin Jiahui. I'm at the hospital today. My health is in really bad shape. If I said anything offensive earlier, please forgive me. I hope you won't take it to heart. It's just that the doctor just told me that my vitals have dropped even further. I know that the idea of having a child with Xuening might seem a bit ridiculous, but we only want to do IVF. We definitely won't do anything else. Please, I'm begging you." Lin Jiahui's voice was filled with a pathetic, high-pitched desperation. "But wait, I was just at the hospital earlier. Why didn't Lin Jiahui say this to my face? Isn't it obvious he's just trying to make Tang Xuening feel sorry for him, so she'll rush back to the hospital? If I hadn't already seen the smug, provocative look on Lin Jiahui's face, I might have actually felt sorry for him. But now I simply couldn't be bothered to watch these two put on a show. I just gave a faint "oh" in response, turned around and went back into the room to finish packing. When I finally finished packing and came back out, I found that Tang Xuening hadn't left yet. Instead, she was looking incredibly grim, staring at me with resentful eyes. "Your dear wife called, didn't she?" Tang Xuening glared at me, seething with anger. It was like she was waiting for me to explain myself. This was the first time I'd ever seen Tang Xuening like this. No longer her usual cool, composed self. She was actually flustered and losing her cool. Honestly, with the status I've reached today, I mean being at the top of my game, having climbed all the way to CEO, I'm quite the catch wherever I go. I've had my fair share of people chasing after me. There were even girls so head over heels for me that they'd show up right at my doorstep to confess, refusing to leave me alone. Back then, I wanted to explain things to her, but deep down, I was still holding on to a flicker of hope. I wanted to see if Tang Xuening would get jealous, if she'd actually get angry. But she would just say one thing: "Don't block the doorway." You're keeping me awake. Then she'd shut the door with a blank expression and head off to work like nothing happened. She wouldn't even ask a single follow-up question. I stuck with that kind of one-sided devotion for 7 long years. And now seeing the jealousy on her face, seeing those other emotions finally breaking through, I felt absolutely nothing inside. I calmly picked up my phone, and just as I was about to give my explanation, Tang Xuaning's phone suddenly lit up. She took one glance at the screen and jumped up in a panic. I'll deal with you later. I have to head to the hospital. Another one of her tired little tricks. I'd seen it 1,000 times before. This time I didn't even try to stop her, because I had much more important things to do. Lin Miao Miao had returned to the country early, and I was in a rush to pick her up at the airport. When I arrived at the terminal holding a bouquet of flowers, I thought Lin Miao Miao had some kind of emergency. But she just blushed and started asking about all these little trivial things. Did you eat dinner yet? How come it feels like you've lost so much weight since the last time I saw you? I've just been swamped with work lately. It's so chilly in this room. Why are you wearing so little? You should put on another jacket. I walked with her, keeping her company, patiently answering every single one of her questions. After Lin Miao Miao stuttered and hemmed and hawed for ages, she finally gathered the courage to speak up. Zhu Yan, is what you said about marrying me for real? I know you have a girlfriend you've been with for 7 years. You love her a lot, don't you? I froze for a second, but it was understandable that Lin Miao Miao would think that way. For these past 7 years, my entire life had been filled with traces of Tang Xuaning in every possible way. My profile picture was a matching one with Tang Xuaning. I even kept a photo of Tang Xuaning on my office desk. I remained silent for a long time. This made Lin Miao Miao feel quite anxious. She curled her fingers into her palms, her heart pounding like a drum. She was terrified that I might say I was just messing with her. I took hold of Lin Miao Miao's hand, looked her straight in the eyes, and said sincerely, Tang Xuaning is a thing of the past. I've truly moved on, you can rest easy. When I said I wanted to marry you, I meant it from the bottom of my heart. Nothing she does will ever change that. The warmth from my hand brought a sense of unexplained peace to Lin Miao Miao. We hadn't seen each other for so long. Not only did we have so much to talk about, but Lin Miao Miao seemed even more gentle and ladylike than before. She was so beautiful that I almost couldn't bring myself to look at her. If Tang Xuaning was an icy beauty, then Lin Miao Miao was like a ray of sunshine, sweet and bright. Being with her wasn't just stress-free, it was incredibly comfortable and relaxing. We talked all the way until late at night. How about we set it for 1 week from now? In 1 week, we'll go get our marriage license. Okay. After I dropped Lin Miao Miao off at her hotel, I finally headed home. But to my complete surprise, Tang Xuaning was sitting on the sofa staring at me with a cold, piercing gaze. I know that memo was just a prank of yours. You're just trying to get my attention, aren't you? Xu Yan, honestly, you're being so childish. I was a bit surprised by the look of concern on Tang Xuaning's face. It was such obvious possessiveness. But we've been dating for 7 years now. By the time I've completely lost heart, Tang Xuaning finally decides to show a little bit of care. It's too little too late. Tang Xuaning got the answer she wanted. She stood up immediately and said, all right, I have to head to the hospital now. Ah Hui said he wants to take us out for a meal the day after tomorrow. Look at how bold he is. You have to come. Don't be ungrateful. Bold, I almost laughed out loud. But before I could even open my mouth to refuse, Tang Xuaning grabbed the soup she'd packed and rushed out the door. She didn't give me a chance to say a word. Sure enough, over the next few days, Tang Xuaning kept pestering me relentlessly. Ah Hui has already booked a seafood restaurant. What's with that attitude? You're being so petty right now. Are you even a man? If you don't show up the day after tomorrow, then don't bother being my boyfriend anymore. Tang Xuaning was even using reverse psychology just to get me to agree to the date. We've been together for 7 years, and yet Tang Xuaning doesn't even know that I'm allergic to seafood. Once I accidentally ate some and had a reaction, and was rushed to the hospital in an emergency. And what was Tang Xuaning doing back then? When she got the news, she just said with utter contempt, you're a grown man. You can't even take care of yourself. What a loser. In Tang Xuaning's eyes, the person she loves can stay in the hospital day and night. But the person she doesn't love isn't worth a second thought. She wouldn't spare you a single glance. And for these past 7 years, I've been that person not worth a second glance. Hey, are you even listening to me? Tang Xuaning was fuming on the other end of the line. It seemed like she was furious because I didn't reply to her text instantly. She realized that I hadn't been acting like myself lately. Tang Xuning felt a pang of anxiety, so she softened her tone, Yan. Once I'm done with these things at the hospital, I'll consider your marriage proposal. How's that? I stood there stunned. My heart ached with a sharp, uncontrollable sting. Why right when I finally made up my mind to let go? Does Tang Xuning have to come back and torture me like this? But suddenly from the other side of the call, I heard Lin Jiahui's voice. He sounded like he was in pain. Babe, I can't breathe. It hurts so much. Then I heard Tang Xuning gasp in panic. It sounded like Lin Jiahui had collapsed onto her. Hui. Hui, are you okay? Quick, hold on to me. You'll feel a bit better that way. You're always so careless with yourself. The moment I take my eyes off you, you end up worrying me to death. Tang Xuning's voice was as gentle as water, almost as if she were coaxing a mischievous child. She had completely forgotten that I was still on the other end of the line. And as I listened to her pampered, doting tone, I hung up the phone without a word. You guys can eat by yourselves. Don't bother me. I'm not going, and I never intended to go anyway. Because the day after tomorrow is the day of the engagement banquet for Lin Miao Miao and me. The private room was filled with a joyful, celebratory atmosphere. Lin Miao Miao was wearing a bright red qipao, looking both elegant and stunning. She caught me off guard and I was momentarily breathless. Hey, Shu Yan, when you said you were getting engaged, we all thought you were just trying to make her jealous. We thought you'd just find someone to stand in for Tang Xuning. But your bride is even prettier than her. You're a lucky man. Lin Miao Miao saw the situation and prepared to step out, seemingly wanting to give me and my friends some space. I pulled him closer and threw an arm around his shoulders. The crowd around us started catcalling and jeering. You guys aren't even officially married yet, right? Already getting all lovey-dovey like this? But hey, Shu Yan, did you really break up with Tang Xuning? Does he even know you're marrying someone else? As soon as those words left their lips, the heavy doors were suddenly thrown open. Tang Xuning walked right in. No, what exactly? Everyone in the room froze, with my new flame standing by my side and my old flame standing right before me. Lin Miao Miao realized what was happening in an instant and tried to break free from my embrace, but I firmly held onto her hand, refusing to let go. What are you doing here? Last time you tried to trick me by faking a contact name, and now you're bringing friends over to put on a show. You really went all out to stage this fake wedding, didn't you? Shu Yan, just to lie to me? You've really gone to a lot of trouble, haven't you? Looking at the absolute certainty in Tang Xuaning's eyes, it was clear he didn't doubt me for a second, because back then I loved him enough to die for him. 3 years ago, Tang Xuaning was in a car accident. I was away on a business trip overseas at the time, but the moment I got the news, I dropped everything and rushed back to the country. When I heard the doctor say he desperately needed a kidney donor, I didn't even hesitate to sign the donation agreement. He was in the hospital for a month, and I canceled every single important work engagement, spending that entire month by his side. When he finally opened his eyes, the first person he saw was me looking frantic with worry. Back then, Tang Xuning probably thought that no one else in this lifetime would ever love him the way I did without any regrets. In that moment, he had been truly happy. That's why even though I was standing there in a groom's suit, with a beautiful girl by my side, he didn't doubt for 1 second that I was just trying to fool him. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Xuning Yu and Zhuo Yan have such a rock-solid relationship. How could he ever fall for someone else? Just 1 month ago, wasn't he even planning to propose to you? I just wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible. I didn't even bother to argue back. Why are you here? Stop acting out Tang Xuning. I thought about how I might provoke him, or threaten him. It's only now that I finally understand. The real reason Tang Xuning came to find me today. It's simply because Lin Jiahui is in critical condition, and he needs my kidney. No wonder 2 months ago, Tang Xuning insisted I get a full-body physical. He even demanded I get checked for kidney compatibility. At first I was honestly confused, but back then Tang Xuning just gave me a vague excuse, saying it was all just to prepare for our life together after the wedding. Looking at it now, Tang Xuning is planning to use my healthy body just to save his precious Hui. But did Tang Xuning ever even ask for my opinion? Do you even know who your own boyfriend is? Yeah, this is your boyfriend. Then who exactly is this Hui inside that hospital room to you? Tang Xuning has been staying by Lin Jiahui's side night and day. So naturally he just assumed that Lin Jiahui was Tang Xuaning's husband. Hearing that, I felt a bone-chilling cold wash over me. Tang Xuning completely ignored my face, which had turned pale with shock, and grabbed my arm, dragging me toward the ward. What are you standing there like an idiot for? Let's go, we need to get that kidney transplant moving. I let out a mocking laugh, and violently shoved Tang Xuning away. That's when Tang Shui-ning finally noticed, looking back with a delayed sense of realization. Again, what's wrong with you? Tang Shui-ning felt how cold and distant I was, and for some reason a wave of panic rose in his chest. But Lin Jiahui was right there in the emergency room, and the situation was incredibly dire. Tang Shui-ning had no choice but to force himself to be patient and explain it to me. Ayan, don't worry, okay? It's just donating one kidney, it's no big deal. I trust you, that's exactly why I'm asking you to do this. Don't worry, once we're married, I'll take such good care of you. You trusted me, which is why you agreed to the donation. So Tang Shui-ning never once cared if I lived or died. Looking at him now, it felt like I was staring at a complete stranger. The green light above the operating room turned red. The doctors rushed out in a panic. Tang Shui-ning didn't even spare me a glance. He bolted straight into the operating room. He was terrified by how quickly things had taken a turn for the worse. With a face full of tears and rambling uncontrollably, he stayed by Lin Jiahui's side. No matter what the doctors said, he refused to leave. So Tang Shui-ning didn't even notice that I, the one he treated like a spare kidney bank, had already left. By then, Lin Miao Miao's wedding banquet had long since ended. I picked her up and drove her to my place. Right in front of her, I started tossing out every photo of the two of us. And there were so many other things we'd shared. I spent the whole night clearing everything out. Lin Miao Miao grabbed my arm, saying regretfully, "These are your memories after all. You don't have to throw it all away. You could just store them away. Consider it a keepsake. Since I've decided to marry you, I don't mind your past." Lin Miao Miao said it so openly and honestly, but I still threw everything away. Once I'd finished cleaning up, I handed over all the property documents to my assistant. I told him to find a time to sell the place. I looked around the room, gazing at everything that used to be so familiar. I still felt a tiny bit of heartache. This apartment with the river view. I had worked myself to the bone since graduation, saving up every penny for 5 years, just to buy this one place. All because Tang Shui-ning once said she loved the view of the river, and that she wanted to live in a big house, just because of that one sentence. I worked myself to the bone. I truly believed that as long as we had a home together, Tang Shui-ning would eventually fall in love with me just by coming home every day. Then she'd become unable to live without me, and finally she'd rely on me completely. But even now, that dream of mine never came true. I called a moving company. As they were loading everything onto the truck, I went back inside one last time to grab the final box of my things. Tang Shui-ning happened to walk in at that exact moment. "You're just going on a business trip. Why make such a huge fuss?" I froze, not giving her a direct answer. "About what I talked to you about earlier. Have you given it any thought? You could at least finish the donation before heading out on your trip, right? Let's just wait a few days." Seeing that I didn't push back against her words, Tang Shui-ning assumed I had already agreed. She walked into the kitchen beaming with joy. Ever since we graduated from college, I never once let Tang Shui-ning cook. I was always the one who cooked for her. Only on rare occasions, when she felt guilty, or was in an incredibly good mood, would she actually step into the kitchen, like right now for instance, because she wanted to thank me for agreeing to the kidney transplant. She hummed a little tune as she walked into the kitchen. After we finished eating, Tang Shui-ning suddenly wrapped her arms around me from behind. My heart skipped a beat. It had been such a long time since Tang Shui-ning was this proactive. Whenever we were intimate, I always had to tread carefully, begging for Tang Shui-ning's permission. And even then, I had to buy her bags and gifts afterward, just to get a few pathetic moments of affection in return. But this time, I used a cold tone to stop her hands from wandering further. "Is there something you need?" "Yan, I know that this whole kidney donation thing is definitely unfair to you. But I swear, no matter what happens to your health, I will never leave you and I will stick by your side. I'll take care of you for the rest of my life." He pushed me down onto the sofa, but little did he expect. I rubbed my temples, my eyes completely devoid of any desire. "Put your clothes back on. I have things to take care of later." Tang Shui-ning looked at my flushed earlobes and laughed through her tears. So I wasn't rejecting him. It was just because of work. How purely and adorably shy I was. Ahai hasn't been doing well lately. I've already quit my job, and I plan to spend this coming time by his side. As Tang Shui-ning said this, she kept a close eye on my reaction. In the past, every time Tang Shui-ning mentioned Lin Jiahui, my expression would turn sour, and I would even fly into a rage and start an argument with her. But now I looked completely calm. Why was that? He couldn't shake the feeling that I was different than before, though he couldn't quite put his finger on why. I listened to him in silence, not a single ripple in my heart. "All right, that's your call to make." I let out a sigh, stood up and got ready to leave. And for some reason, he felt as if something was slowly slipping away, but he couldn't quite. Articulate what it was. So acting on pure instinct, he stood up, wrapped his arms around me and said, Ayan, please don't go. You know Hui is my childhood sweetheart. First, his parents passed away in a car accident, and then his health started failing him. As his friend, I'm truly worried about him. We have all the time in the world to spend together, but Hui, he might not have much time left. Once I've been there for him during this time, I'll make it up to you properly, okay? I stayed silent for a brief moment, then nodded. I pried Tang Xuaning's hand off my waist. I walked straight out the front door. I knew this was probably the last time I'd ever be in this house. And for the two of us, there was no us anymore. My conscience is clear when it comes to Tang Xuaning. As for how she decides to live the rest of her life, that has absolutely nothing to do with me anymore. Suddenly, a massive snowstorm began to rage outside. Watching me walk away, Tang Xuaning felt a strange sense of déjà vu. It felt just like all those years ago, when I stood in a blizzard just like this one, and confessed my feelings to her. But now, the vast blinding snow only allowed her to see my back as I walked away. Yen, wait. Let me go inside and grab an umbrella for you, Tang Xuaning said, rushing upstairs. She tore through cabinets and boxes, frantically looking for an umbrella. But since I was always the one who kept the house in order, she had no clue where anything was kept. By the time she finally managed to find one and rushed back out the door, she realized I had long since vanished into the swirling snow. In that moment, she felt a hollow ache in her chest. Truth is, there was something she wanted to ask. She wanted to ask me when I'd be back, so she could cook a table full of my favorite dishes. Then again, forget it, there was still plenty of time. Once I got back from my business trip, she'd make it up to me and fix this relationship. Meanwhile, I finally started my car in the dead of night. I watched Tang Xuaning open the door and gaze out into the dark. But she didn't take a single step to come and find me. Even if she had just put on a show and pretended to look for me, that would have been enough. I had held on to a shred of hope in my heart. I was hoping that these past 7 years of love hadn't just been me acting alone, that it wasn't all for nothing. But in the end, Tang Xuaning let me down once again. I looked at the house I had lived in for 5 full years, and recalled everything that Tang Xuaning and I had been through together within these walls. There were heartaches and there were beautiful moments, but more than anything, it was just the simple, quiet, day-to-day life. All of that lingering sorrow. The very second I watched Tang Xuaning shut that door for the last time, it all melted away into a sense of relief and peace. I finally let go. Completely let go. I packed up all my things. I signed the contract to sell the house. And finally I touched down in a city. I was still busy on my phone dealing with work when I was suddenly pulled into a warm embrace. Welcome, President Shu, to a city for your inspection. A huge welcome to you. Standing there with flowers, Lin Meow Meow blinked at me playfully. She flashed me a smile. She wasn't that awkward kid anymore, even though she still had that lively, energetic spirit. Everything about how she dressed and carried herself screamed elegant lady. My eyes were glued to her, absolutely stunned. I mean, technically, we're about to be husband and wife, but I still felt my face flush red. I instinctively looked away. What's wrong? Did you only just realize I'm a beauty? Isn't that a little late? Once we're married, we'll be sharing the same bed every night. Don't you think being shy now is a bit premature? I suggest you face reality and get used to me sooner rather than later. You're still just as playful as you used to be. Is it bad to be the way I used to be? In this world today, everything changes so fast. Jobs change, business deals change. Everything moves so quickly, but I hope that the feelings between us will never change, just like they were before. Lin Meow Meow looked at me with such sincerity, as if she were telling me that when it comes to this relationship and our marriage, she is absolutely completely serious. This moment instantly took me back to when they were 18. Back then, they were both so caught up in the college entrance exams. And Lin Meow Meow, she didn't care about her appearance at all. Yet with her lively personality and naturally pretty face, she was without a doubt the school's it girl. But whenever a guy tried to confess to her, she'd shut them down every single time, seriously. She always said students should focus on their studies. And right around that time, I had just finished writing her a love letter. After hearing her say that, I ended up tucking the letter away inside one of my books. I hesitated and I was terrified. Even though Meow Meow and I had been childhood sweethearts, what if she didn't feel the same way? I told myself I'd wait until after the exams were over to finally let my heart speak. But then Meow Meow moved away. I headed off to school in another city, and just like that we missed our chance. There were those bittersweet youthful regrets, and plenty of what ifs, but that's all in the past now. I asked, sounding as casual as I could. Is it true you haven't dated anyone all these years? Was it just because of pressure from your family that you agreed to this crazy proposal of ours? She froze for a second. Did you know that the day I moved away, I waited for you in front of your house for hours? Now it was my turn to freeze. After finding out Meow Meow had moved, I was so down in the dumps that I threw myself into part-time work. I had assumed Meow Meow was already long gone, so I just wanted to work to numb the pain. So she was waiting for me the whole time. Meow Meow looked at my shocked expression and let out a sigh. I thought I was being pretty obvious back then. I had no idea you still didn't get how I felt. That day I wasn't just waiting for you, I was waiting for a letter that never came. Her words left me completely stunned. Could it be that she actually knew I had written that letter? And she had been waiting for it too. If she really was waiting, then she must have been secretly in love with me all along. In that split second I felt like fireworks were exploding in my head. It hit him slowly then all at once. The temperature inside the car suddenly felt suffocatingly hot. Do you like me? It's me who likes you. Lin Meow Meow didn't hesitate for even a single second. She answered me directly. Her certainty, her unwavering resolve, and the tears welling up in her eyes. It all made me realize that Lin Meow Meow's love had been an undercurrent raging beneath the surface, hidden away for so long. I've liked you even longer than Tang Xuening ever did, but for all these years you never once saw me, so I've just been waiting for you to turn back, waiting for you to finally notice me. She pulled a yellowed, weathered love letter from her bag. It was a picture of my younger, awkward self. Shu Yan, this is the love letter from 10 years ago. Does the promise we made back then still count? I felt like all of this was just a beautiful dream. I was terrified that if I woke up, it would all vanish. I looked at her, and my heart was overflowing with emotions I couldn't name. It turns out while I was busy pining for someone who didn't care, there was someone else silently watching over me the whole time. I couldn't hold it back anymore. I pulled Lin Meow Meow into a tight embrace. Our body heat collided, our heartbeats racing and tangling together, finally melting into one long, lingering kiss. It still counts, Meow Meow. Thank you for walking those 99 steps toward me. I'll take the final step the rest of the way. Returning to our past life, we went back to the city, where we both grew up as kids. The Shu family had already moved away, and all that was left of the Lin family was an old empty house. So Lin Meow Meow and I decided to move into the old Lin residence for a while. The air suddenly grew thick with an intimate tension as the two of us got busy cleaning and tidying up the room. She didn't dare to meet my eyes, but I could clearly see the tips of Lin Meow Meow's ears, slowly turning bright red. We clicked instantly and talked for a long time. We kept talking until midnight. Lin Meow Meow finally headed back to her room. Even though we've known each other for a long time, we still have to go through the proper wedding process. In a couple of days, I'll bring some gifts and go see your parents. We'll discuss getting our marriage license in a week. Lin Meow Meow was practically dying to marry me right then and there. She even wished we could be sharing a room already. And as for her parents, they had been losing sleep over her getting married. Once they heard she was marrying me, they were absolutely thrilled. Not only did they immediately start picking out her dowry, they didn't even want a single cent of the bride price. They were shamelessly showing favoritism toward their future son-in-law. But being a girl, she still had to play it a little cool. She just blushed and gave a shy nod. Meanwhile, over in another city, Tang Xuening was originally planning to ask me when I'd come over to donate my kidney. But the doctor dropped a much more urgent problem on her. Ms. Tang, the VIP room fees are a week overdue. When do you plan on settling the bill? The VIP room costs 30,000 per day. Tang Xuening's cards were already maxed out. In fact, she'd even hit the limit on her credit cards. Ms. Tang, Mr. Lin's medical bills have topped 200,000. You need to clear the balance today. Otherwise, we'll have to move Mr. Lin to a general ward. Lin Jahui had just finished surgery. He absolutely couldn't be moved to a general ward, no way. She wanted to ask me face to face what exactly I was playing at. Her first instinct was to call me directly, to demand why I'd cut off her access to my cards. But remembering that she still needed things from me, she thought it over and decided to wait until she got home to confront me. Tang Xuening went to the supermarket to pick up some groceries. I bought so many of my favorite ingredients. After she pushed open the front door, that familiar figure was nowhere to be found. There was no one there to take the bags from her hands. At 10 o'clock at night, the room was pitch black. Once inside, Tang Xuening could only hear the sound of her own breathing. When she turned on the lights, everything was neat and tidy. The house felt vast and hollow. Tang Xuening felt like something was missing from their home. Her initial excitement was quickly dampened by the crushing silence of the house. That was when Tang Xuening remembered what I had said, that I had gone away on a business trip. Tang Xuening set her things down, feeling a wave of disappointment. She pulled out her phone and opened our most recent chat on WeChat. She realized I hadn't sent her a message in a long time. Our conversation had stopped weeks ago. Even though her pride made her feel a bit awkward, Tang Xuening decided to reach out and message me first. Are you asleep? When are you coming back? After sending the message, Tang Xuening couldn't help but stare at her phone screen, nervously waiting for it to light up. An hour passed by. Her phone just lay there completely silent. Maybe he's just too tired from work and already asleep, Tang Xuening told herself, trying to find comfort. She thought she'd just wash up and wait for me to reply tomorrow. Then she could properly talk to me about what happened at the hospital and discuss their upcoming wedding. Exhausted, Tang Xuening headed toward the bedroom, but the moment she pushed open the door, she stood there completely frozen in her tracks. The room that used to be so warm and cozy was now completely empty. The bed was gone. The nightstand was gone too. All the sweet photos that used to hang on the walls had vanished. She rushed into the living room, grabbed her phone, and desperately dialed my number. But all she heard on the other end was a cold, robotic voice. I'm sorry. The number you have dialed is not in service. Please check the number and try again. How could the number be disconnected? There's only one possibility left. Refusing to believe it, Tang Xuening sent me a WeChat message. But in the next split second, a giant red exclamation mark popped up right in front of him. Tang Xuening's hands began to tremble. I had actually blocked him. A thought crossed Tang Xuening's mind. Could it be that I'm really ending things with him? He tried to retrace the events of the past few days, searching for some sort of clue. But as he glanced out of the corner of his eye, he noticed something on the coffee table in the living room. A note was sitting there perfectly placed. One look at it and he froze in his tracks. Tang Xuening, let's break up. I've already married someone else. The hand holding the note began to shake uncontrollably. Was I really going to break up with him for real? Once the reality of the situation finally sank in, he reached up to touch his face almost instinctively. He found his fingers covered in cold tears. He had been crying the whole time, yet he hadn't even realized it. Staring at that red exclamation mark, he refused to give up and called my number again. But the cold, robotic voice of the automated system answered once more. Tang Xuening let out a tortured scream. Shu Yan! How dare you just walk out without saying a word? He couldn't accept it. His eyes were already burning red. He kept dialing the number over and over again like a machine. The stinging pain of being dumped turned into a blind rage, instantly setting his wounded heart on fire. He couldn't understand why this was happening. I mean, in recent times, had he really been anything more than just a little too attentive toward Lin Jahui? But the guy was a patient, for crying out loud. He was just taking care of a patient, that's all. Did I really have to be so petty about it? But Tang Xuening knew he had to get in touch with me. He was broke and needed to pay the bills. And on top of that, he still needed my help. After a moment of thought, he posted a status on his social media feed, asking our old classmates if they knew where I was. But another hour dragged by, and still nothing. No one replied to him. Tang Xuening suddenly felt a wave of crushing defeat, but there was nothing he could do about it. Tang Xuening let out a long sigh. He lay down on the floor by himself and closed his eyes. He prayed that when he opened his eyes the next morning, I would have reached out to him first. When Tang Xuening woke up the next day, there were a ton of WeChat notifications on his phone. Overjoyed, he grabbed his phone to check. But after scrolling for a long time, he didn't see the one person he was waiting for. A sense of hollow disappointment crept into Tang Xuening's heart. He aimlessly scrolled through his messages until his eyes were drawn to a post in his social media feed. It was a photo from his college, classmates showing them at someone's wedding. He zoomed in, and his blood turned to ice. Suddenly his phone rang. Shuening, why didn't you show up to Shu Yan's wedding today? I really thought you were the one getting married. I even prepared a gift for you, but I ended up mistaking someone else for you. It was such an embarrassing mix-up. Zhu Yan has always been so good to you. Are you really just going to sit back and watch her marry someone else? Ling Ling's words left Tang Xuening frozen in place. Tang Xuening refused to believe it. She must be pulling the same old trick again, just trying to get a rise out of me. She's just waiting for me to come crawling back. Thinking this, he felt a spark of hope return. He immediately regained his composure. Send me the location. I'm on my way. It's here in a city, in Shu Yan's hometown. You mean you didn't know? Tang Xuening's heart plummeted. If he remembered correctly, this was her hometown. For her sake, he hadn't been back in years, and he had even had a falling out with his own parents because of her. Meanwhile, the wedding banquet hall was filled with a joyful and festive atmosphere. The newlyweds were bustling about, busy greeting all their guests. You could see that sweet, shy glow of a newlywed couple on their faces. Suddenly, I received a call from an unknown number. I assumed it was the wedding MC. The team was probably reminding me that it was time to move on to the next part of the ceremony. Without a second thought, I answered the phone right there in front of Lin Miao Miao. But the very next second, Tang Xuening's voice suddenly came through the line. Hey Yan, you finally answered. When are you coming home? I miss you so much. Yan, please stop blocking me. I know I was wrong a while back. I know you're just doing all this to get back at me. I know I messed up. Tell me where you are right now. I'm coming to find you immediately. I really know I was wrong. Won't you please just come back home? Tang Xuening's voice was as soft as water, sounding like a sincere apology. But almost immediately, another girl's voice came from the other end of her line. Honey, who are you talking to? Everyone's waiting for you to come take the big group photo. We're just waiting on you. That intimate honey was like a slap, landing hard across Tang Xuening's face. Just a spam call. It's nothing, I'm coming right now. Tang Xuening could tell that the gentleness and patience I showed just now were not fake at all. In that moment, it felt like she'd been struck by lightning. Sitting in her empty, quiet home, Tang Xuening replayed everything that had happened recently over and over in her head. From that phone call saved as wifey, to how cold and indifferent I'd been toward her lately. It turns out there were signs of all of this happening. It turns out I really had moved on with someone else. Almost instinctively, Tang Xuening grabbed a few clothes and rushed out the door. Under her frantic interrogation, he even managed to get my home address from one of my classmates. Without a second thought, he booked the first flight out to reach me. Just then, Tang Xuening got a message from the doctor saying that Lin Jiahui was about to go into surgery again. If this had happened before, Tang Xuening would have rushed to the hospital without a moment's hesitation. But for some reason, the scales in her heart suddenly tipped in a different direction. Her mind was filled with thoughts of only me now. All she wanted was to see me immediately. Meanwhile, at our wedding, the ceremony had reached the vows. Lin Miao Miao giggled and leaned into my arms. We looked at each other and smiled. Amidst a shower of falling flower petals, all our unspoken words melted into one deep, lingering kiss. But right at that moment, a sudden commotion broke out just outside the closed doors. A bad feeling washed over me. I gave Lin Miao Miao a reassuring smile and asked her to keep greeting our guests. While I walked over to the entrance, the security guards looked incredibly awkward. Mr. Zhu, the person outside claims to be your wife. She's even holding up a photo of the two of you together. We really didn't know how to stop her. If she really knows you, we were afraid we'd be causing trouble for our own people. She's just an ex-girlfriend. We broke up a long time ago. Today is my wedding day. Do you really dare to let a lunatic like that keep causing a scene out there? Do you want to lose your jobs? As soon as I said that, they immediately bowed their heads and hurried out. They grabbed Tang Xuening and dragged her away from the door. Tang Xuening was sobbing uncontrollably. When she heard the guards say it was me who ordered them to kick her out, she couldn't believe it. Just a few weeks ago, he was proposing to me. How could he possibly just marry another woman like this? I don't believe you. Make Mr. Zhu come out and see me. Make him come out here. Tang Xuening was sobbing her heart out, crying hysterically. Suddenly, she rolled her eyes back and passed out cold. Security, can you count to 1,020? Hurry up, someone's fainted. While Tang Xuening was passing out from grief outside, inside I dropped to one knee. I slipped the diamond ring onto Lin Miao Miao's finger. Ayan, marry me. You're never escaping me for the rest of your life. Looking into Lin Miao Miao's eyes so soft and gentle, I smiled from the bottom of my heart. I had never felt this happy in my entire life. When Tang Xining finally opened her eyes, the first thing she did was beg the doctor, "Doctor, please. Did my boyfriend come to see me?" "What boyfriend?" "No one's been here to see you these past few days. And make sure you pay your medical bills, by the way. You're a grown adult. Stop acting like your life is over just because of a breakup." The doctor said that and quickly walked out. Just then, footsteps echoed outside the door. Tang Xuning looked up hopefully. "Ah Yan, you finally came." But instead she realized her phone was blowing up with endless notifications. They were all credit card alerts and overdue bills. Altogether, she owed nearly 1,200,000. There was also a notice from the property management office. They were telling her that the house she was living in had already been bought by someone else. They gave her 1 week to pack up her things and get out of the property immediately. The final message was from Tang Xuaning's company. Because she hadn't shown up for work for weeks, she had been fired on the spot. And to top it off, she wouldn't be receiving any of her back pay. In the blink of an eye, Tang Xuning had become a homeless debtor. She stared at her phone, completely in disbelief, unable to process what was happening. Lin Jihui had no idea what was going on. He just stood by her side trying to comfort her. Even if he's busy with work, he shouldn't act like this, right? What kind of boyfriend is he? I think you guys should just break up already. Even if you two are breaking up, you still need to squeeze as much money out of him as possible. And don't forget about these medical bills. He needs to pay for this VIP room for you too. If he doesn't, we'll just make a scene at his company and make sure he loses face. Lin Jihui kept rambling on, completely failing to notice that Tang Xuaning's expression had turned dark as ink. Her insides were burning up and she snapped, "Get out! It's all because of you. If you hadn't kept making me tag along with you, why would he be with another woman?" "What are you talking about? What do you mean Xu Yan is with someone else? Are you saying he dumped you? Tell me, speak clearly." Lin Jihui's words felt like sharp needles, stabbing right into Tang Xuaning's heart. The one thing she dreaded hearing most was being blurted out by Lin Jihui without a shred of tact. Tang Xuaning collapsed back onto the hospital bed, completely deflated. "It's true, Xu Yan doesn't want me anymore. He's with another woman now. Are you satisfied now?" After hearing Tang Xuaning confirm the reality of her situation, Lin Jihui stood there practically frozen in shock. "Then go find him right now. Go and chase after him. He loved you so much. Just make him divorce that other woman. It's not impossible for him to be with you again. He'd do anything for you, you know that." When Tang Xuaning heard Lin Jihui say that, the heartache she had been suppressing finally boiled over, and she burst into tears. "Get out of here. Just leave me alone so I can have some peace." After Lin Jihui left, Tang Xuaning realized her face was already covered in tears. But life has to go on, and so Tang Xuaning made a call to her family home. Over the years, she had supported them quite a lot, and she had even handed over her own resources to her younger brother. Tang Xuaning was thinking about asking her parents for a loan to help her get through this rough patch. She thought it wouldn't be a problem at all. But the moment she finished explaining her situation over the phone, her parents on the other end started screaming at her at the top of their lungs. "Look at you. Look at what you've done to yourself. You brought this on yourself. What did we tell you back then? We told you to just marry a guy like Xu Yan, someone who isn't going anywhere. But no, you had to drag your feet and keep pining after someone else. Well, are you happy now? The guy you had in your grasp ran off with someone else, and the money— what money? We were counting on you to chip in for your younger brother's down payment. And here you are having the nerve to turn around and ask us for money. We have nothing for you. You'd better figure out a way to win Xu Yan back. If you can't get him back, then don't bother coming home." With that, they hung up the phone right in her ear. Tang Xuaning truly never expected her parents to be so heartless toward her. But to her surprise, 1 week later, the same parents who were so cold on the phone came to find her in person and even set her up with a place to stay. "That Xu Yan is so cruel, isn't he? You were together for 7 years and he just dumped you like that. But don't worry, Ning Ning, it's going to be okay. There are plenty of good men out there." Just as Tang Xuaning was sitting there in a daze, Lin Jihui walked in through the door, holding a bouquet of flowers. "Xu Ning, marry me. I don't mind your past. Cheap flowers." A half-hearted gesture. It didn't even have 1/10 of the effort he used to put in. Tang Xuaning let out a cold, bitter laugh internally. "No, I won't marry you. You've already slept with other men for 7 years. It's good enough that a man is even willing to marry you." Why are you still acting so high and mighty? Besides, Jiahui said he's even willing to give you a dowry. It's already a blessing that a man is even willing to marry you. So stop acting like you're some kind of prize. Plus, Jiahui even said he's willing to pay you a dowry. He's a billionaire, your own brother. What more could you possibly be picky about? It turns out in the eyes of her parents, she was nothing more than a tool to be traded for a bride price. No matter how much her parents tried to talk her into it, Tang Xuening just wouldn't budge. After hanging out with Lin Miao Miao, early spring had already arrived. I was completely lost in the sweetness of it all, and our relationship had grown even closer than before. We were practically inseparable, stuck like glue. Miao Miao didn't want to spend a single second away from me now. I just never imagined that such a peaceful and happy life would be shattered by one little thing. One day after Miao Miao and I finished grocery shopping, as we were checking out, someone stopped us at the entrance. I took a closer look, and it was actually Tang Xuening. She looked absolutely haggard now. Her cheeks were sunken, and her complexion was sallow. You couldn't see a trace of the pampered, well-off girl she used to be. I instinctively pulled Miao Miao behind me, terrified that Tang Xuening might try something. That protective gesture cut deep into Tang Xuening's heart, and she could clearly see that there wasn't a shred of nostalgia in my eyes. Tang Xuening stepped back, laughing bitterly. "Don't worry, I'm not here to pick a fight with you." She held out an invitation. "I'm getting married next week. Here's the invite. For the sake of our old acquaintance, Mr. Xu, you really must come." I was about to reflexively reject the invitation, but Miao Miao snatched it away first. "Sure, my husband and I will be there." Miao Miao spoke with the tone of a woman in charge, which made Tang Xuening nearly lose her footing. Tang Xuening went pale in an instant, then turned around and stumbled away. Only after she turned away did I realize that not only was Tang Xuening living in a sorry state, and word is she's even pregnant. When I finally arrived at the wedding venue, I was honestly taken aback. My Maybach looked completely out of place sitting in front of this run-down hole-in-the-wall diner. It was true Tang Xuening was marrying Lin Jiahui, but she was forced into it. Her parents had made a deal with him. For just 200,000 yuan, they locked her up at home until Lin Jiahui got her pregnant. Tang Xuening had fought back, she'd struggled, she'd resisted. But as the baby started to grow, she had no choice but to slowly accept her reality. I took Lin Miao Miao by the hand, and the two of us just waltzed inside like we didn't have a care in the world. The wedding setup was pathetic. You could basically call it a bare-bones wedding. Tang Xuening was wearing a wedding dress that didn't even fit her. She had a cheap, fake diamond ring on her finger that cost maybe 20 bucks. And her heels, they were the wrong size, making her stumble with every step she took. Tang Xuening had never felt so humiliated in her life. All she could do was force a smile. Meanwhile, Lin Miao Miao and I were just lost in our own little world talking to each other, completely caught up in our own bubble. Anyone with eyes could see how much we loved each other. Tang Xuening saw it too, of course, but she had to swallow the jealousy clawing at her heart. With Lin Jiahui practically dragging her along, she made her way onto that sad excuse for a wedding stage. When the ceremony reached the point of exchanging rings, wait, Tang Xuening got divorced. I mean, I wasn't really keeping tabs on her anymore, but it hadn't even been that long since the wedding, so I was actually pretty surprised. Turns out ever since that wedding day, Tang Xuening had basically stopped eating and drinking. She lost so much weight so fast. It terrified the Lin family. They were begging her to just take a bite of something. Even Lin Jiahui got down on his knees and pleaded with her, but she wouldn't budge. Only when it became clear the baby was at risk did Tang Xuening finally state her terms. She demanded a divorce from Lin Jiahui. The deal was if I signed the divorce papers, she'd go ahead and have the baby. Lin Jiahui's face was practically dark with fury, but when he saw Tang Xuening's stomach growing bigger day by day, he finally agreed to the divorce. After all, in their eyes, the baby was way more important than the wife. Who would have thought that the very day she got the divorce decree, Tang Xuening took 3 or 5 doses of abortion pills and started bleeding heavily. By the time she was rushed to the hospital, the baby was already gone. Tang Xuening herself nearly lost half her life and almost didn't make it through the emergency surgery. I just gave a non-committal "oh" and turned back into the delivery ward. The woman I once loved more than my own life now couldn't even stir a ripple in my heart. My heart was filled only with Lin Miao Miao and the baby about to enter this world. But I never expected Tang Xuening to track me down at the hospital. When she leaned on her crutches, hobbling her way over to find me, I opened my mouth, but the words just wouldn't come out. Tang Xuening spoke up first, "Ma'am, I want to talk to you alone. Nobody knew how much effort it took for Tang Xuening to make it to the hospital. Her back was already drenched in sweat, and she was gritting her teeth to endure the pain in her body. But the moment she saw me, she felt like it was all worth it. Tears of grievance suddenly welled up in Tang Xuening's eyes. She couldn't hold back anymore. I didn't have Lin Jiahui's baby. Can we please go back to how things were? No, wait, can we please go back to how things were? As soon as she finished, I looked at her as if she were some kind of freak, Miss Tang. My wife is currently in the delivery room waiting to give birth. And you're standing right outside saying things like this. To try and break up someone else's marriage like this isn't that wicked. Aren't you afraid of karma hitting you? Tang Xuening's face went ghostly pale. What did you call me? You're actually snapping at me for someone else. Tang Xuening, who do you think you are to me? Do me a favor and remember your place. If you dare to mess with my life again, watch out, you'll be the first one I take down. I lowered my voice, but the threat behind it was no joke. Tears still hanging on her face. Tang Xuening was practically stunned. She'd never seen me this fierce or this cold before. I don't have time to waste on you. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling security. Suddenly, a shout came from the OBGYN ward. I bolted toward the sound, leaving Tang Xuening nothing but a hurried back view. In that moment, Tang Xuening knew she had lost completely. She stood there dazed for a long time, then heard the cries of a newborn coming from the delivery room. Right after I was by Lin Meow Meow's side on the gurney, handing her a bouquet of flowers. I kissed her gently, the love in my eyes practically overflowing. You've worked so hard, my dear. Meow Meow, I love you. The sight of us so happy stung Tang Xuening. She could only retreat into the shadows, like a rat in the sewer, gloomily coveting the happiness that belonged to others. When she finally walked out to the street, she suddenly felt like this scene was hauntingly familiar. A long time ago, when I had first started dating her, we used to take walks on the street just like this. Back then, I would carry everything she had in her hands and ask her with so much care if she was hungry or cold. She must have been happy back then, right? But why didn't she cherish it? Why was she so arrogant, so sure that I would never leave her? Ice, summer, JP, no. What are you doing?